Hello, everyone. Welcome to God, Sex, and Love. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and tonight I'm going to be chatting with Miss Leigh Clifton. She's a wonderful artist and lovely lady, and I hope that you guys are ready for this conversation. So stay tuned. Welcome back to God, Sex, and Love. I'm here with Miss Leigh Clifton. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm fine. We just found out that we're practically neighbors, so that's
we are.
Well, as in regards to states, right? She's like one state away, like next.
Right next door in states.
That's awesome. Man, I would say this whole experience with God, Sex, and Love, and even doing the talk show version of it, it's allowed me to meet so many awesome people and everything like that. And so now you're in the mix. This is your first time with God, Sex, and Love. So welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you.
And yes, I would love to learn more about you and your book and everything that you have going on.
Okay. So, I was telling you a little bit ago that my degree is in chemical engineering, and I was an environmental engineer for 33 years. And then God called me out of that and to write. And so I was blessed to be able to retire in December. And my first book came out in March, and it's All Your Heart. I know that's backwards, but it's a book about a girl who experienced a great trauma in her life, and as a result had an unplanned pregnancy. And the decisions that had to go along with that. And so basically the theme of the book is trusting God's sovereignty, knowing that He works all things together for good, no matter what. And also the sanctity of life, that no matter who or what you are, God has a purpose for you, and your life is precious to Him. So yeah, that's kind of where the book goes. It's got a surprise twist at the end. So
okay. Listen, I mean, your message is so needed right now. So thank and praise God for you to be able to take out the time and do that. Look, it's a blessing. Congratulations being able to retire to do that.
Yes.
That's like a blessing.
Yes, huge blessing.
You know, that this pandemic or whatever the case is definitely, it sat me down in a lot of ways, but it provided a lot of opportunities as well. Like, for example, me launching this. So, hey, I guess, you know, at the end of the day, God's plan is better than ours, right?
Absolutely. If everybody remembered that, what a better place we would be in, right?
And I'm telling you, look, we can go on and on about that right there. Really agree. So what was your inspiration behind your book? Would you mind sharing?
Not at all. So I had known some situations where girls had faced trouble, had been, attacked, molested by acquaintances even. And I'd also known girls who had opted for abortion. And my husband and I lost 3 babies to miscarriage. And so we're so, we believe in the sanctity of life so much. And so that's kind of where the whole story, Alex, my main character, where her character launches from. And there's a little bit of a romance element to it. And but basically that's the basis. Just babies are precious, and regardless of how they get to be. So
wow, that is, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for that transparent moment as well. I'm sure that's very dear to your heart, the situation that you went through and everything.
Yes.
But I guess as I was listening to you, I guess I just kind of was like inspired that, you used your pain to hopefully, create us maybe change someone's mind, maybe, to inspire someone else to understand and to, allow God, help them to make a different decision and everything like that. There's a lady that I follow, her name is Angela Stanton King, and she's always talking about this. This is like one of her main platforms that she talks about. She also talks about other stuff too, but this is one of the main ones. She definitely stands strong about abortion and everything like that. And not long ago, actually, we had an episode where there was a gentleman that a fellow Christian, him and I, because he was the only brave soul to come. It was supposed to be a panel discussion, and he was the only one to show up. And so me and him had the conversation about abortion and as Christians and everything like that, and what our stance should be, as well as like, and he shared his story as well, that in his younger age he didn't necessarily think about it the way he does now, but he sees that obviously he sees the differences and whatnot now and everything like that. I guess I share about those two situations because one thing that Angela always says is that at the end of the day, especially, that's the number one thing people try to bring up to make it like, oh, well, if someone is raped, they always bring that up into the conversation. And, obviously they have statistics out there about like the rape versus non-rape cases and in front of me. So everybody can research that if they're really interested to see. But from what I'm understanding, that's a low number of the actual cases. Most of the cases are just, situations that aren't rape, that, situations that aren't, someone being in abuse or something. So it's just like, let's not let that be the excuse to take up here. And I guess one thing that Angela says a lot is just, if you can't kill the abuser, why would you kill the child that had nothing to do with
the innocent? I know that the total innocent in the whole situation who had no choice. So yeah.
And then at the same time too, that is still part of you, that's still your child as well. So it's a, it's heavy, it's deep conversation. I know sometimes people, I think they look at Christians as, I'm not judging anyone that had made that decision. I'm sure it's a decision if they had to make it. But I guess my whole thing about it is like, let's not pretend that this isn't a child. Let's not pretend that this isn't a human and a whole different life for you.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. There are women who saw abortion as the only way out, but God has grace to get you through that if that's the decision that somebody made in the past. But what I really wanted to highlight in this book is that there are other paths. There's other options. You can still honor God and honor that sanctity of life despite the hardship that you go through. And just like something you said a minute ago, God doesn't waste anything, like with the pain that we had from the miscarriages. I'm able to minister to other women in that situation. And so, I think God will carry us through situations like what my main character finds herself in, with grace and love, because that's who he is.
Listen, that right there, look, we can go on that, honestly. We need to say nothing else. But that is so true. And I appreciate you sharing, and I appreciate you, being inspired and letting God inspire you, and you going forth with putting the message out there. Because for whatever reason, Lord, are we getting so? Okay, how can I say? Basically, I just feel like everything's topsy-turvy, which the word said is going to be, right? So I'm not surprised that everything is topsy-turvy.
Not a surprise.
But at the same time, you like, when you're looking at everything and you literally see good being called evil and evil being called good, and it's like every day happening in front of you right now. It's like, how can we not see? For me, when I look around, I'm like, this is just Bible prophecy everywhere. Like,
right? I know. It's like we're living it. We're living it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like,
I know.
If people don't see it or people don't want to acknowledge it and whatnot. And I understand that this subject of, abortion and everything is deep. I'm a mother now, I have my 2-year-old son and everything like that. And I will say, like, I was a little bit nervous when I conceived, right? Because the narratives out there is like, oh, there's issues with pregnancy in Black women. The narratives out there like, it's a clump of cells and not a baby or whatever the case is. So to my surprise, and even I remember learning in school about fetus and all, the whole thing, right?
Right.
But then like, for whatever reason, when I went for my first, and it wasn't even the ultrasound, it just, the lady happened to let me, I think I was kind of nervous, or I was kind of like, something was going on within me to make me nervous for my first appointment or whatever the case was. Mm-hmm. And so she just happened to do an ultrasound to allow me to see it. And to my surprise, what I saw in the ultrasound was just a tiny baby, like I'm saying, like the full body of a baby just flipping around is what I saw in the ultrasound. And I'm like, wasn't even expecting to see that. In my mind, you hear clump of cells so much, or you hear these things so much where you're like, I wasn't expected to see a full baby. I was expected to just see maybe a couple of balls or something. It was only a few weeks, And
did your heart just change in that second?
It did. It did. And, it was like, wow, this is amazing. And then, like I said, the whole process, by the grace of God, my process was smooth. I want to say I didn't really have too many complications or anything. I know at one point we kind of had to, like toward the end, they wanted me to come more because they were like, he was small for his, as he was growing and everything like that. Mm-hmm. He did, we did have him early. I was not prepared in any aspect. I put on YouTube the whole story or whatever. Like I hadn't even done my maternity shoot or nothing at that point, and here he comes, and it's like, oh!
Yeah, it's basically from the time they're born and they decide when it's time to be born, then they tell you for the rest of their lives. So.
And it's so funny now because he'll look at me and want to act like he's my parent or something. And I'm like, you don't understand the dynamics of what's going on here. But yeah, the whole process, it was a beautiful process and everything like that. And so, but again, I just wish we don't allow the narrative to change our mindset about like what is happening. And right. If God has blessed you to carry a child, then perhaps it's for some reason. Another thing that again, Miss Angela says, but also as I do my Bible study and stuff like that, some things that I've seen in regards to children being blessings and everything like that. And then also, at the end of the day, that child could be the child to do whatever wonderful thing that God has created him to do, or him or her,
Sure.
And I guess, I don't know. There's a lot to say and be said. I'm sure you don't want to talk this whole time about this, but yeah.
Well, and this is the message that God had put on my heart, and every day I would pray before I would write, and just ask him for the words that he wanted to put in this book to tell people. And so, it really has been bathed in prayer, the whole process. And, even now as it's, going forth into the world, I just pray, God, get it into the hands of the people that need to hear this. So
I'm here for you too, man. And
thank you.
I definitely hope that you are able to talk to many more people, especially, girl, now I don't know if you want to get out there at the Planned Parenthood and be like, look, I got this book, y'all, I got this. Right?
Yeah.
Because you never know, like, whose life you change as well as save, in this situation. So.
Correct. You're so right.
For doing that. And I'm interested, like, so I don't know, what's next for you then? You got some other books cooking?
I do. So I have the sequel. I just finished the sequel to this.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that one, I will submit it to the publisher next week. And then this week I started on the third book in the series. And so, yeah, once you read All Your Heart, I've had a lot of people that read it and they're typing in furiously, oh my gosh, please tell me that there's more to the story, because it does kind of leave you kind of on the edge of your seat. And I'm assuring them, yep, there's more to the story. So yeah.
Okay, all right, now listen, then next thing we know, movie coming out. Like, look, I for the movie, like, well, maybe, hey, if by the grace of God, one day I'm gonna play it. Maybe I can produce it. It's like, I don't know.
There you go. There you go. This is a whole God thing.
Hey, we'll see what he do. That's so funny because I was trying to get you off the subject, but you're like, no, I got more of this same subject coming.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, it gets deep. The next book gets deep. I'll tell you this. There's highs and lows in the next book. So just like life, right? Because God doesn't promise us a smooth road. So.
But he always promises a way, right? Out.
You are right. You are right.
And
to be with us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Man, I'm excited. Look, the trilogy. Look.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome.
Awesome.
So, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. It's amazing what he's done, what he's been able to help me accomplish.
That's awesome. Yeah, especially storytelling. I was always a reader anyway, growing up and stuff. And I have a little something now, but it's like a journal, and I have some ideas of another idea I want to put out. But all of my stuff is kind of like my real life, or like literally. Well, my journal just pretty much like shares my Bible study process and hope to get other people to try to study the Bible every day and things like that too. But I definitely have so much like admiration for artists and writers and people that create these entire storylines and I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah.
Oh, I totally get it because I've told my husband, I'm like, because earlier this week I was up till like midnight because these characters, they rattle around in my head and they do their own thing, kind of like a 2-year-old does his own thing, right? And so I have to try to remember what they do so that I can get it written down, because it'll be at the most inopportune times, like when I'm in the shower or when I'm driving or trying to fall asleep, and these people start coming to life in my head. It sounds a little bit insane, but I mean, that's the process. So.
Hey, well, obviously it's a beautiful process. It's, creating like a trilogy. I don't know what's next, but it's already created that. And maybe I'll find some balance with that. I've written scripts, but I feel like there's a whole nother thing to like create a story and because then you're creating the backstory too, and then you're creating all the stuff that's happening around the people and stuff. And you do that with films and scripts, but I don't know, it's something about the format,
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, I commend you again on what you have allowed God to do through you. Obviously, there's more, so friends, get the first book, because then you got to go ahead and get ready to get the second and the third.
That's right.
Let me go ahead and speak for them. I don't know.
We'll see where God leads.
Right, exactly. So, I was wondering, do you have any other stories that or do you kind of just focus on one at a time, or?
So right now I am just focused on that one. I had, a few years back, I wrote a children's book called The Little Vessel. And the purpose of that book was to show not only kids, because it can also be taken on a deeper level, but to remind people that comparison is the devil's work, that we're not to compare ourselves to somebody else. I mean, that's a universal truth. It doesn't matter if you're 2 or 102. Comparing yourself is not. And I've struggled with that myself, and also to remind us that he has created us for a unique purpose. And no matter how he's created us, right, that we're perfect for him. So that I had started out with a children's book, and I paint. I like to paint, and I like a lot of, kind of counter to the whole engineering mindset, but I do like the whole creative process.
Awesome. Look, glad I asked you about that, man. That definitely is a message that we all need to hear. I mean, as an actor, I've dealt with that as well. This whole compare yourself to someone else. But have you heard the little phrase about like the sun and the moon? They both shine and X, Y, and Z. So don't compare to each other, X, Y, and Z. But I have to remind myself a lot of that too. That hey, at the end of the day, I am unique. God made me the way that he made me. Someone else is different, and even if you're going for the same things, there's room for all of us, And
exactly. I mean, we're the body of Christ, right? I mean, the Bible tells us that, and we all, your hand can't do what your eye does, and it can't do what your foot does. You know, everything is necessary. So if he's gifted us in a certain way, we should be using that to his glory.
Amen. Man, you know what? Look, we'll be on here talking all day. Man, that is beautiful right there. I agree wholeheartedly with all of that. I don't want to be long your time because I don't know how long we've been chatting, but I just want to say thank you again for.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a joy. It really has.
I mean, well, I try every now and then. Is there anything else you want to kind of leave us with today? Anything you might have missed, or you're like, oh, I want to say this before I leave?
I guess the biggest thing is my life verse is Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So, you know, if nobody else remembers anything else that we talked about, if it could be that would be great.
Oh, Ms. Leigh, I want to give you all the hugs.
Big hug to you from South Carolina.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you, Miracle. I really appreciate it. You have a great day.
Ma'am, you too. Thank you so much to Miss Leigh Ann Clifton for this conversation tonight. I hope that you all grab the gems that she was dropping, because I'm telling you, she definitely dropped some great things tonight. So I hope that you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.